Hey everybody, welcome if you're new. My name is Amanda. This is Carnivore Me. This is documenting my journey going from morbidly obese to healthy. Not only do I go over what I'm changing in my eating, but also what I'm changing in my mental perspective around losing weight and becoming healthy. One of the tools that I have found that has profoundly helped me is Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules to Life. There are probably tons of different other ways to do this, but this is a way I found that has worked for me. Today, we're going to continue on with this discussion and talk about Rule 4. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not who someone else is today. In today's video, we're going to talk about abilities and outcomes, about the internal critic, how to change trajectory. Ability and outcome. We are not equal in our ability or our outcome, and we never will be. A good example would be the Kardashians, me comparing them to myself. I'm 33, I am not a millionaire, I don't have an empire. I could look at that as I'm just failing at life. But here's the thing. I have no interest in selling makeup and selling beauty to other women. That is not something I'm interested in. So how can I compare myself to them? I don't have the interest, I don't have the ability, so I cannot expect the same outcome. It's comparing apples to a tire, honestly. I've always viewed my life through a lens of duality, success or failure, but it's on a scale. It's not one or the other. We might succeed exceptionally at being a doctor, but we're a failure when it comes to relationships, or we're an excellent plumber, great playing a piano, but we don't really have much literary skill. And that is okay. We need to judge ourselves across the scope of our life, not one thing that we're bad at. That does not define if we're successful or failures at life. We will always be good at something and always terrible at something else. And if we're not, then most likely we aren't challenging ourselves if we're excellent at everything. To be able to change our perspective, I think we first need to understand how our inner critic works. First, it takes and chooses an arbitrary fact. Then it elevates that arbitrary fact to be the most important thing that ever existed. And then compares us, our life, to that one fact. Because it creates this insurmountable gap, it makes life feel terrible, and why try? This leads to, how do we change this trajectory? If we have this voice chirping in our head all the time, telling us terrible things, how do we change it? First, we have to get to know ourselves. We have to take internal stock of who we are. Here's a passage in the book. Here's a hint. The future is like the past, but there's a crucial difference. The past is fixed, but the future, it could be better. It could be better some precise amount. The amount that can be achieved, perhaps in a day, with some minimal engagement. The present is eternally flawed, but where you start might not be as important as the direction you're heading. Perhaps happiness is always to be found in the journey uphill, and not in the fleeting sense of satisfaction awaiting at the next peak. Much of happiness is hope, no matter how deep the underworld in which that hope was conceived. The biggest thing I get out of that quote from the book is, I have my entire life looked backwards, regret, guilt, shame. But the past is a past. I can do nothing to change it. I can only change the future. It is unwritten. With that, I can look back now and see that the journeys I had taken previously, I was in this race to get to the end. I never enjoyed the journey. I was trying to get as expediently as I could to the finish line for that tiny little granule of, as you said, fleeting joy. But now, having this shift, changing the way I view myself, I can truly say I am enjoying this journey. I am not miserable. I am finding that I'm learning so much on this path that I'm not looking for the finish line. My best example would be part of my video yesterday. 4.5 months ago, I wanted to quit on life. I just wanted to go to sleep and not wake up. And now I'm happy to roll out of the bed, overwhelming the changes that I have had in the past 4 months. And how could I not be happy? Happiness comes and goes, but how could I not see the joy in this journey despite the bumps when I haven't been able to wear my entire wedding set for years now and I can actually get it on now? These are the small things that make this journey amazing. How I got there was building and repairing a relationship with that internal critic, my internal self. Being open, being humble and honest, looking at what I've done, what I said I would do, and what I haven't done. Looking and assessing what has made that internal critic so harsh. And the reality is, if I look back when I was a kid, that internal critic kind of pointed me in directions of don't do this, avoid this, but it wasn't so mean and hateful. It has gotten that way as I've gotten older. And the reason is, it is, or was, resentful. I would say I would do things and didn't do them. I would lie to myself. And if we did that to someone else, of course they're going to get resentful. How can we not expect that resentful part of ourselves to not be vengeful, to sabotage us when we're trying to do something good because it's so angry at us? I had to go to myself, be honest, be humble, and just say, how do I decrease my suffering? What ideas do you have? I had to negotiate with myself. What am I going to get for doing this small task? Whether it's another cup of coffee or 10 minutes to just do whatever I want. What do I truly want inside? What would be considered rewarding? Not food. What would be a true reward to my soul? What would make me suffer a little less? And that internal critic can then turn into our internal voice, and it can answer those things for us. We may not always like the answer, but it knows us to our core. I had to treat it right for it to treat me right. How I actually started this process, other than just having this conversation in my head, was aiming lower. That sounds a little counterintuitive, but if we aim for the stars, but we know we're never going to make it there, are we going to try our hardest? No. Aim lower for things you can succeed with. You know you can win. The whole adage, winners win, losers lose. It goes all the way back to rule 1, talking about the crustaceans. About when we do things and we succeed, we get a dopamine high. That dopamine drives us to do more. It is our motivation molecule. When we do something, we win. We want to do something else and win. But the opposite happens when we lose. We don't want to put ourselves out there. So aim lower. Do those things that bother you. You're walking through your house and we all know, I have that feeling like inside something's just like, yeah, I should do this. It just causes a little bothersome feeling. Do it. Put up the junk that's sitting on the chest next to you. Put up clothes. Do these small things. These small things add up into huge things. And it is that small shift that changes our trajectory and it will change our path in just a short period of time. All of this is very, very important. It is how I've gotten where I've gotten. And honestly, I feel like the last 2 paragraphs of the book kind of summarize it beautifully. Realization is dawning. Instead of playing the tyrant, therefore, you are paying attention. You are telling the truth instead of manipulating the world. You are negotiating instead of playing the martyr or the tyrant. You no longer have to be envious because you no longer know that someone else truly has it better. You no longer have to be frustrated because you have learned to aim low and be patient. You are discovering who you are, what you want, and what you're willing to do. You are finding that the solutions to your particular problems have to be tailored to you, personally and precisely. You are less concerned with the actions of other people because you have plenty to do yourself. Attend to the day, but aim at the highest good. Now, your trajectory is heavenward. That makes you hopeful. Even a man on a sinking ship can be happy when he clambers aboard a lifeboat. And who knows where he might go in the future. To journey happily may well be better than to arrive successfully. Ask and ye shall receive. Knock and the door will open. If you ask as if you want and knock as if you want to enter, you may be offered the chance to improve your life. A little, a lot, completely. And with that improvement, some progress will be made in being itself. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not who someone is today. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I love hearing from you guys. As always, if you have questions, put them in the comments. I'll either answer them there or add them to the Q&A. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye. Instrumental. I wonder if you can hear Rosie snoring right now. I just realized that.
My arbitrary fact is that I am been killed 1,000 times by my wife, and I still live. It's my superpower.
Stop it. I'm not putting that in the video. Okay, hold on. You are finding that. Oh, I'm reading it wrong. This is the one I stumbled on so much last time. To your particular.
Sorry.
It just takes me a second.
You just look like a deer in the headlight. Okay. It's just like, oh.